in and pull up a chair. From Zoom stalker to Zoom talker, he went from Zoom stalker to Zoom talker. Zoom talk, you gotta Zoom talk, you gotta Zoom talk, come on and Zoom talk.
We have the pleasure of interviewing Maura Mullaney, who was on, what was she on, the second or third?
The first
Second
two
cast?
thirds of the second season
Okay.
in 1972, 1973. She was one of the replacements for Tommy's cast, and she was on with the three original Zoomers, Tracy, Kenny, Nancy. And she was born in Boston and raised in the Hyde Park neighborhood of Boston. She later went on to be in a band of her own in college, where she went to Providence College in Rhode Island. She was on a hockey team. She's very interested in sports. She especially hockey. And she was for many, many years, until recently, an Amtrak train conductor, and which she enjoyed tremendously. And she will talk about that. Thank you. He is, I assume, retired now. She was a little star, very popular. We're going to talk about that.
Well, I'm really excited to interview Maura. So let's go call her. Welcome to Zoom Talk. We are so excited today to be speaking to Maura. Welcome, Maura.
Hey.
Yeah,
Maura.
so
It's
nice.
really
Maura Mullaney.
it's great to be here.
And it's
Really like it.
we're thrilled to have you, and also thrilled that we have a third co-host now in Tommy, because we interviewed him last week and he had so much fun. He wanted to come back, and you're just a bevy of information, and also such a good guy, and really appreciate you joining the band.
Oh,
we're putting the band back together. And anyway, hey, Maura.
Hey, Donna. I haven't seen you in 3 years.
Yeah, since the Chiller
Chiller.
Theater.
That was fun. That was a first for all of us to actually appear anywhere and meet some fans and have a blast.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
And who showed up? But Walter from
Walter
Chicago.
was there. Chicago. Yes.
Surprise.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. That was a lot of fun. And as you know, we had a couple of really mind-blowing moments at that Chiller.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, do you remember Carol Vagoda, Abe Vagoda's daughter, who was like helping us out? And
Absolutely. She was wonderful to work with.
I just spoke to her for about 45 minutes. And
oh, wow. That's
what
so
a lovely,
great.
lovely lady she is.
She is. She was my assistant, if you want. I find a hard time.
You're so lucky.
My head around that, but yes, I got to sit with her for the weekend, and
she's going to do Chiller as like her father, for Abe Vagoda. She's going to do it with pictures and stuff. She's never done it before, but she's going to do it this Halloween at Chiller.
That's great. That's so
awesome.
Great. One of the really sweetest people. She's great.
Yeah.
You were saying how you had a guest come up to you.
Oh, man.
May I tell the story of I went there for the Zoomers. Mickey Dolmans was there, and before there was Zoom, there was the Monkees. And so I basically went up to Mickey Dolans and said, his assistant took pictures of me, and they were literally like this, me going like this. And so I went up to Donna and I tell this story, Donna. I went up to you, Donna, and I said, look at the pictures from Mickey Dolans. Don't I look like my grandmother just died or somebody just kicked my dog? And you went, that's how you always look. or something. Do you remember? Like it didn't
Yes,
face
because
at all.
it is true. Well, that's because I had 17 years of
But I went back to Mickey Dolan's the next day and I said to his assistant, can I pay again to have this? Because I don't want this to be the last. I promise not to be.
Yeah.
And she kindly said, oh, no, you don't have to pay again. So she went up to Mickey Dolan's.
That's really nice.
And he was very gracious. So I did this. I went like
this.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
But anyway, and I said, okay, that's it. I'm not paying for anybody but Mickey Dolenz. And then I said, okay, the woman who was in Pee Wee Herman's Adventure,
Oh, yeah,
the
she was
waitress,
wonderful.
Simone, she was next to where the Zoomers were. And I said, everyone has a big butt, Simone. Let's talk about your big butt.
Come on, Simone, let's talk about your big butt.
And I had her sign it like that to Walter, who was a big butt. But then little by little, it was like gambling. And I went to the ATM and I was getting money out. I said, I'm not going to go to and I eventually went to the Facts of Life girls.
Of course you did. Of course.
But anyway, I had my shirt that said Zoom on it. So I'm talking to Mindy Cohen and she looked up and said, oh, Zoom. I remember Zoom. And I went without hesitation. I went like, they're over there. They're over there. And I thought, like, I feel like the person who turned in Anne Frank and her family. Like,
let me tell you, and I've told this a million times. Again, we had never done any kind of an appearance anywhere. And 2022, the 50th anniversary of the debut of Zoom, and we make this appearance, and we had no idea what to expect. And, I'll be honest, we have a private group chat that many of us are in.
Not me.
From Zoom.
I think I got kicked off.
Well, if you're kicked out, I will add you back. But
yeah, add me back in.
So yeah, we call ourselves the Sarson 21, the ones that worked with Christopher. We had this opportunity presented itself, and I think the overriding fear was we're going to look like a bunch of old people who are trying to get their last 10 seconds of fame, and it's going to be sad. And do we really want to do that? Well, we finally agreed. 5 of us were there, and it could not have been any different than what we thought it would be. It was joyful. It was uplifting. We met some amazing, wonderful fans who came by, and that's so humbling, really, to have people travel a far distance just to meet you.
I was just going to say, the fans at the Chiller, I had more fun hanging out with them than you guys. No, I'm just kidding. But no, they were
thanks.
They were wonderful. Do you remember though? There was a heavy metal band, and we did the Zoom song in heavy metal.
The band. Somebody arranged for the band to learn the Zoom theme song, and they talked us into getting up on a stage. We did not rehearse. We just jumped right into it, and it was crazy, but a lot of fun. The biggest mind-blowing moment for me was who comes over completely like Melissa Gilbert from Little House on the Prairie. Yeah. And we were like, what? It's what dream did we just walk into? Melissa Gilbert is like impressed to meet us. It was crazy.
She was amazing.
She was. She could not have been.
Her husband, who's a really great actor and director. They were awesome.
Busfield?
Yeah, Timothy Busfield.
And they brought their puppy. The dog Chicago. Yes.
They live in a farm.
Yeah,
like
upstate New York. Since the advent of social media, we've had fans reach out. That's how I met Walter, which is a funny story.
That story at some point. I want to tell that story if I may. I didn't want to hang around the Zoom table too much because I didn't want people to say, what does he think he, should be here? I mean, but everyone was gracious. But anyway, I came back to the table and Donna was talking to Mindy Cohen. And I overhear her saying, if you listen to the theme song of this show, she said, well, he was a stalker at first, but then he became a friend and I met him. Don, am I right? We were talking about me. And I'm thinking Mindy Cohen probably thought, oh my God, I survived this man. I thought, maybe he had
I said I thought he was a stalker. I didn't say he was a stalker.
Okay. Maura, may I ask you a question?
Yes, sure.
Did you know going into the Chiller Theater thing, how much you were thought of and remembered and revered? Was it kind of like, wow, we had no clue? Or did you have some clue? Or
I would say we've had some clue, mostly because the advent of social media. Walter runs one of the Zoom fan sites on Facebook, and we've had people reach out and share memories, and that's always great. But I think doing Chiller and seeing other people who are fans that remember the show so vividly, it is amazing. Zoom, unlike other shows, you don't turn on the TV and see reruns of Zoom all these years. And so 50 years later to have that kind of connection with people still is what a gift. I mean, who knew? And it's been amazing. And just so lucky to be a part of that and to make someone's day just by showing up and talking for a few minutes. It's just, I mean, it's amazing. Very humbling.
You were a little bit late, Maura, coming in, and I kept checking, is Maura there yet?
Yeah.
So finally, when I saw you from across a crowded room, I acted like one of the dogs that hasn't seen their owner for a while. I went, it's Maura, it's Maura, my God, my God, my God.
Yeah.
And then I know we hugged, and then you let go, and I went, let's hug again. Or something. Oh, okay, not a problem.
We had not ever met in person,
sweet.
but
No,
we
not in
had
person.
spoken
And
for
Skype.
years. For many years.
Can I tell the story of how I met you, Maura?
You can, because I still can't believe you put two and two together and figured out it was me, but go ahead.
Okay, is that okay with everyone?
It's
Yes.
entirely appropriate because Maura's our guest. And of course.
Oh, well, we had just gotten internet at my job. That coincided with the fact that the new Zoom was coming on. The Boston Globe, Maura, you were one of the people they featured. Like, where are they now? Original Zoomers.
I think
Right.
was that might have been the Herald.
Was it
It was the Herald,
The
the Sunday
Herald,
Herald,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Because it had you, Mike, I know was there, and Bernadette, and it gave last names, and that was like finding the Holy Grail or the lost art because you never had last names.
Secret true identities, huh?
Thank you. So I said Maura Mullaney. So I Googled Maura Mullaney, and that in '99, the internet was like in its infancy. I saw one, and it was Maura. What do they call that?
A discussion board, message
Discussion.
board.
The question was, now that Joe DiMaggio is dead, who is the greatest living baseball player? So I saw Maura Mullaney, and not everyone included their email address, but Maura, you did.
Oh,
and I went, okay. From what I remember of Maura, she
Mhm.
seemed like a tomboy.
Very much so. Yes, I was.
Like she would have answered this sports question.
Mhm.
So I
That's
wrote
true.
to Maura, and I said, hi, Maura, you don't know me. By any chance, are you the Maura who was on Zoom? And you wrote very quickly back, and you wrote, well, to answer your question, yes, I am. I'll ask you a question. Do I know you? and I went, no, but oh my God, we've broken through the fourth wall. This is Maura, my God in heaven. And so I think I might have done the text equivalent of, as Donna would say, oh my God, it's Maura, I can't tell you, and the dam broke, So I think you kind of were like, oh my God, who is this guy? But the funny thing was, and you asked me a question about baseball. I think you thought, well, he must have gone on there because of baseball.
Well, sure, and
you
Chicago, and were you a Cubs fan or something like that?
And so I said, I can fake it and say, well, the greatest living baseball player has got to be Babe Ruth.
He was gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's
my grandmother saw him play.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, but that is my extent of knowing who the baseball players are,
Mhm.
So I quickly unmasked myself and I said, I'm not a sports fan. And you were so gracious. And in 2004, when you had a reunion, I think at Dr.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You sent me the group photo. And I said, oh my God, this is.
And I said, this is private. Don't you ever post this on social media, because I'm not supposed to share this with you.
No,
but I knew I had to send it to Walter.
And that's what you said. You said, Walter, how could I not? Otherwise, they'd up your medication or something. And this is how gracious you are. I said, was there any chance that I could come and like serve sandwiches?
I remember that. Yes.
I didn't hear about the sandwiches.
You were so gracious. Instead of saying, oh God, hell no, of course not. You went, well, I'll have to check with the others. Let me get back to you.
The 2004 reunion was the first time we had attempted to gather. We'd had a couple of little mini get-togethers.
Yeah, through the years.
Yeah.
Like a couple of them, not anything big. Bernadette's hosted one. Then we did something at GBH for the relaunch of the new Zoom.
Yeah, I think that's where I first met you, Maura.
I think it is, yeah. So 2004 was huge. We finally found each other, and all of us, with a couple of exceptions, and Trying to get all of these people who are now scattered all over the country was not easy, but we managed to get, I think, 16 of the Sarsen 21. And it was the most joyful weekend you could possibly imagine. It was just amazing. And I remember late into Saturday night, we had a kind of a Zoom wrap and talked about a lot of things and experiences. Some of it was pretty emotional, but it was incredible.
Where was this?
Joe's house.
Oh.
Yeah.
Weren't you there?
Yeah, Donna, you were there because at the end of the night, there's 4 of us sleeping on couches in the living room. We were having a Zoom sleepover. Penny, Maura, Jay, and Donna.
Oh, that's funny. I do remember that, but wasn't sure it was 2004.
Yeah.
I remember
Yes.
I went and I slept in my car.
You were there because
Yeah.
the things that I'm going to take credit for this because this was big. While we were planning the whole get together, I said to Christopher, you know, Chris, the show won a couple of Emmys. And is there a possibility that you could bring the Emmys? Because we've never had a chance to hold them, see them, get a picture. And he so kindly brought the 2 Emmys, and we took group pictures by cast of us with Christopher and the Emmys. And I remember it was you, Timmy, and Danny. No, Edith was there, so maybe those 4. But I still have pictures of the reunion, so
wow,
we may have to share them.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I do remember. It was funny. Yeah, we were all having a sleepover. I remember it was like Kenny was there,
Tracy, Nancy, Kenny, Joe, Tom, Nina from the originals. Then the 4, Ann, David, Jay, and Maura. We were all there, and then it was
And Leon.
Well, yes, Leon and Bernadette, and then Danny, Edith, Donna, and Timmy. I think,
I don't
right?
think Timmy was there.
Timmy
I
was
just spoke
there.
to Timmy.
Yeah, I had a good chat with Timmy.
Timmy was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just spoke to Timmy Friday for a little bit and had a nice conversation. I hadn't talked to him in a little while.
That's good.
But I do have to ask, so at the reunion, were the sandwiches easy to get to? Or
We could have used you.
We had
I'm
lobster.
just saying.
Oh,
No, you
We had lobster.
The price of lobster had dropped down cheaper than hamburger, so it was endless lobster.
We did have lobster. The other thing that was hysterical to me, among other things, was you probably remember, and I know Tom has this, Tom has video, during the first year that I was on Zoom, David and Tracy it was a Zoom game called Cracker Whistle. We had them recreate Cracker Whistle at this 2004 reunion. And you know how you'll get laughing so hard you can't breathe? That's kind of how it went. And they recreated Cracker Whistle, and it was hysterical. And Tom has the video of that.
You will find that on the final episode of Zoom Lost and Found that I have posted on YouTube.
Yes,
Yay.
indeed.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. It's funny that all those years passed, and a few folks have been in touch with each other, but we got together and it was like time had stopped. I was 10, but whatever age, we were still kids. But it's like really is like a family. It's like brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
or something. It's definitely a family connection.
That is for sure.
Maura, you said something. I remember that time you said maybe that was the first time you also met Nina. And I thought you all didn't know each other. I mean,
No.
you all didn't.
From the original 7, I had worked with Tracy, Kenny, and Nancy. I had met Joe somewhere along the way. I think I did a voiceover project, ironically enough, with his mother. And I think that's how I met Joe. I had met Tom, I think it was in 1999 when we did the thing at GBH.
I've been just handed a news alert. My wife, Judy White, was reading the Boston Globe, and in today's Sunday Globe movie section, Conan O'Brien is pumping his new film, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. He talks about his background growing up in the Boston area and how his dad and his brother was an usher in the movies, so they saw a million movies. My dad took me to see Chaplin. He took me to see the Marx Brothers and the old classics. He loved the Pink Panther and made sure I saw all of those. So all that stuff was being fed into my growing brain, he added. The beloved kids program Zoom was another favorite, with O'Brien calling it our claim to fame in Boston. I used to watch Zoom, and they would have sketches, said O'Brien. I thought, wow, they're making this in Boston, and these kids are my age, and they're making comedy. So all of that was so exciting to me, and it's affecting me still.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Well, I have to say, Conan O'Brien, we need you. Let's
yes, we do.
Yeah.
Let's get Conan on here.
He discusses them on his podcast. He talked about the Zoom song.
You know what was kind of a mind blower to me is when you think about Christopher Sarson, who created the show, and Newt Wayland, who wrote all that amazing music, and Billy Wilson, the choreographer. They were in their 30s when we were doing Zoom. And I think in my 30s, I couldn't have done any of that. I think Newt was 31 and he wrote the theme song, the address song.
Fanny Dooley song.
Fanny Dooley song, yeah. We were kids and they were grown-ups, but they were young. They were really young when they did all that.
When you're an artist, you know, your 30s are probably your best time to be really creating stuff. So hopefully it's in your 60s as well.
We hope.
When you mentioned Fanny Dooley from our show last week when we interviewed Tommy and we talked about Fanny Dooley, I had said how Fanny Dooley loved Donna more, but didn't like Walter Britsky so much, and likes Tommy, but not his last name. And for anyone who may have been offended, Wally, Fanny Dooley loved Wally.
Oh, loves Wally.
Yes.
So much.
So
much.
And my middle name is Philip with 2 L's. So
there you go.
That's a double.
Is that your middle name?
Uh-huh. And Wally was what I wrote all my Zoom letters in it. And it's credited on the show, Wally, when I got my stuff on 10 times. And so it was always Wally. You were talking about that one time you were at a fast food restaurant. Can you tell that story with your parents?
Yeah, we were at McDonald's, which, you know, in the 70s, that wasn't a place you went several times a week. That was a big treat to go to McDonald's. You know, with my mother and my 2 brothers and myself. And so we get our order and we're sitting down eating. And this woman comes over and says, "Oh, my kids, they think that's Maura from Zoom." And my mother said, "Yeah, it is." And she said, "Oh, would it be okay if she came over and had dinner with my kids?" So I think of it now, and of course I would have dinner with them, right? You're 10 years old, you're out with your family, you're basically kind of shy, which I always was, which nobody believes today, but that's true. I was very shy. So I ended up having dinner with this family. And the thing that was difficult was that all the kids did was stare at me. They didn't talk to me. They didn't ask me any questions. And I didn't know them. But again, those are the things that now, when you look back, it comes with the territory. People see you on television and you almost become like a friend to them because they see you, you know, every week. But it was not always easy at that young age to have fame or attention because you're not really equipped at that young of an age to know how to handle it. And you don't want to come off as rude or anything, but you know, 10-year-olds don't always have the wherewithal to be, I don't know what the right word is, to just be approachable. And I don't know, maybe they thought we were always on, like we were on Zoom, but that, you know, that wasn't always the case.
They cast the Zoomers to be normal children for the most part. So, of course, we thought of ourselves as normal, you know?
Yeah. They really went to great lengths to impress upon us. You're not stars. You're not famous. You're just kids doing a TV show. And I know for me, that's true. That's the way I thought about it. So, you know, I can remember, and you brought up the tomboy thing. The biggest thing for me was that when we would have to go to GBH to rehearse or film, I was missing all the neighborhood street hockey games, and that was just not okay.
What are some of your happiest memories that you have when you were on the show, Maura?
Happiest memories? I just think the whole experience, making a new set of friends. I always thought when we came along, I mean, Zoom was on for 1 season. And like everybody else, I watched the show, wrote a letter and found out that there was an audition process. And I wanted to be on Zoom because that just looked like so much fun.
You were the cutest too. Such a cute.
Oh, I don't know. See, those are the things that people don't realize. You're a kid and you go home and you see this show now on TV and you're like, why did I do that?
But was it fun to jump through the paper hoop?
Oh, that was a blast. So it was a big square frame and they had the paper and the paper was scored. So I was on a ramp and then there was this paper. And when I jumped through it, there was maybe 3 feet between me and the camera. So I had to stick that landing. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I had in my old office right after the chiller, because we had to get the photos to have people sign them.
Yeah.
And I kept my Maura photo and had it up in my office wall because it was just such a cutie. It's just such a cute
thank you.
pic.
Oh, geez.
I have a question. Can you tell us about your adventures in music?
Yes.
With Newt Whalen.
Oh my gosh. That was the most amazing project that we got to do. Adventures in Music was designed to go around to certain schools and perform, kind of to introduce kids to classical music. And we did we did Peter and the Wolf as part of it, but also we did Prokofiev's Classical Symphony, and we broke it down into segments. The idea was to get kids to understand what is the development and what is the coda and what is, part of a classical piece. We worked with a group of musicians from the Boston Symphony Orchestra. So we were on a stage, there were 7 of us, and this unbelievable group of musicians behind us. And I can't even begin to tell you how exciting to watch them work and perform, and to hear it was amazing. And to this day, I absolutely adore Prokofiev's Classical Symphony. So we went around to schools and you'd meet some people after the performance. And I remember we would have to, because it was done during school hours, we would have to get the day out of school to be able to do this. So that's always fun, when you're 11 or 12 years old. Always exciting. The musicianship was, I can still remember it so vividly. Just amazing. What an experience.
How long did you do that for?
I don't know. I think one was in 1973, did another one in 75. That one I don't remember quite as vividly, but same idea. It was a play done live on stage with these musicians behind us. And just a great experience. Newt Whalen, music director for Zoom, was instrumental in putting this whole thing together. He was a very, very well-known and renowned classical pianist and conductor. At one point, he was kind of a fill-in conductor for the Boston Pops. Just an amazing, amazing guy. Just
incredible.
So talented.
He was even considered to be the conductor of the Boston Pops for a while.
Permanent, yeah.
And then who were the other performers that you had in your lineup?
Let's see. We had myself, David, and Jay. And we had Bernadette, Leon, and Luis. Anne had moved to Chicago, which is the only reason she wasn't participating. I think that's it. So it was 6 of us, not 7, but the 6 of us. And then Jay, who was on the show with me, his brother was a graduate of Berklee School of Music. He put together a little act, and you'll know about this, the Lively 5. Yes. Yeah. That went on for, I want to say, 3 or 4 years.
I did that a couple times.
Yeah, before that petered out. I think it was you, me, and Lori, Jay, and Luis. We were in the Lively 5.
Was that Jay's brother's original compositions?
Pretty much, yeah.
How about is it the Come On and Zoom record?
Yes, that's the album cover behind me, yes.
That's A&M. The A is Herb Alpert.
Herb Alpert, yes, and Jerry Moss.
Yeah,
we did that the summer of 1974. Most of us hadn't really seen each other for a while, and that was fun. We were now on the cusp of our teen years, so we were getting a little older. We would meet at GBH every day. I couldn't even tell you who this person was, but he had a van, like a conversion van, and we'd all load into the conversion van and drive out to the studio, which was called Angus. It was a studio out in, I want to say it was out near Brookfield or somewhere out in Central Mass. And ironically enough, a studio that had been used by Aerosmith. But in we went and we did the album, and it was so much fun. That was a real highlight to be able to do that. We got to work with, I had not worked with Mike or Lori. I had met Lori, but I had never worked with her before. Oh, no, that's not true. We did the Lively 5. Danny, Edith. So it was a different mix, but, again, you put any of us together and it works.
Mike was great. I'd really like to see him again in his adultness.
Yeah.
He's
My Mike story, right?
Yeah.
Mike Dean. Um, I was playing at this dive in the financial district called Cantones,
I know
and
Cantones.
uh,
Yeah.
with a band probably called the Mighty Ions, Wrestle
Ah,
Rock, and then the other band on the bill was the Runes,
the
and
runes.
Mike Dean played bass with them, and he came up and said, "Hey, I'm Mike from the Zoom
Aw.
Show. You know, the one with the hat." So that's when I met Mike Dean.
Wow.
Oh,
Well, may I tell
Cantones.
my Mike story?
Sure.
sure.
In 13, he and I had been kind of corresponding back and forth, and he had a Zoom Boy website he was
Zoom Boy
trying.
Mike, yes.
Zoom Boy Mike, and I've got two of his paintings on my wall here. He is, to me, an excellent painter. He would do like scenes from Boston, different buildings.
Very
And,
talented, yeah.
and so
So talented.
when my
Mm.
friend and I were going there in 13 to the Boston area, I emailed him. I said, "Would you be willing to like have coffee? It'll be on me." What a big spender I am. Do you
Yeah.
know, not only did he meet me, he brought his girlfriend with him, and he wore his original Zoom shirt.
Oh, when was
Which
this, Walter?
October of 2013.
Wow.
And we met at a coffee shop, and his girlfriend didn't know Zoom. My friend John, who was he was born 62, so he would have been a perfect age. He didn't watch Zoom. He didn't remember it. So I'm thinking, heathens, what the heck? You know, the don't know.
Non-believers.
You know, so I said, "Well, don't worry, Mike. I'm here for, I'm enough for." And he was so sweet, and he took us to his art studio. And my friend John said he was going to kill us now. I said, "No, he's not. He's taking us to his art studio, and he's fine." It was so sweet. And then we ended up at the park there by Union Wharf. I've got pictures. I could share those with you, but I thought, what a sweet thing to do, because he was heavy set when he was on Zoom, but kind of heavy. But
Then he turned into a beanpole.
he lost weight.
Yeah.
When he got tall, too, didn't he?
I don't know if he still paints, but he to me is just a wonderful artist. And he was in a band too. He gave me a CD, but it wasn't kind of my music. So I reached out to him, I think earlier this year, and had heard from him for years. Said, "Hi, Mike, remember me? The stalker?" No, I said, "Remember me?" And he did. And I'm doing fine, and I would love to have him come on. But that's my Mike story.
We're going to ask Maura about her days on the train. So I got on my local commuter rail one day when Amtrak was running the system.
Yes, that's right.
And Maura was my conductor.
That's right. That is right. I had no idea that was going to be part of my future. I had studied political science, and I thought I would go to law school, or maybe I'd go into journalism.
You would have made a great lawyer and a great journalist.
Well, thank you for that. But what happened was, on my way to figuring out what I wanted to be when I grew up, I used to ride the trains a lot from Boston to Providence to go visit family and friends. And then I went to Providence College. At any rate, I thought, well, that would be fun, get a job on the train, and take some tickets and make some announcements, and it'll be great. So I sent in a resume, got called in for some interviews, and got offered a job. And I thought, well, this is going to be so much fun. I'll only do it for a little while. First day, you go to training, and they hand you this rule book. It's like this thick of federal railroad rules. And I'm like, oh, I'll never be able to do this. How am I going to learn this? And I learned, and turned out to be the place that I spent most of my work life. It was a lot of fun. Met some amazing people. I had some truly life-changing experiences working there. I did work in commuter rail in Boston initially, and then I stayed with Amtrak when they gave up the contract to run commuter rail. So I would then work to New York. But it was a blast. I had so much fun, met so many nice people. And it's like so many jobs, I guess when you're in it, you're like, oh, this job. And then when you're not doing it anymore, you really miss it.
What did you like best about being a train conductor?
Well, I think people that you meet, for sure. But it's also the not being stuck in an office. Being out and about was really big. I think definitely for me, that was a big part of it. I don't do well being stuck in any one place for long. I need to be constantly doing something. Being stuck in a seat for 8 or 10 hours is just not my idea of fun.
What other jobs did you had before that?
Worked in a lot of printing places. I worked in copy places and things like that. Then when I was at Providence College, I actually worked at PC, which definitely was helpful because, you get breaks on the tuition. I was actually part of the public safety department. At one point, I really thought I would end up becoming a police officer in the city of Providence. Providence is a special place to me. That's where I grew up in Boston as a child, but I really grew up as an adult in Rhode Island and in Providence. That's very near and dear to my heart.
That's pretty funny because I started writing a skit to open up the 50th Zoom reunion. Of course, that never happened. So picture this. Joe and I are homeless guys, and we're holding up a sign in traffic that says, "Hungry and homeless. I was on Zoom." Along comes Maura, dressed as a cop.
Could have been.
The outfit kind of like Car 54 would wear.
Oh, geez.
And she yells at us, get out of here, you bums. So we take off running. You pick up the sign and go, "Zoom? I was on Zoom. Come back here." So
I was on Zoom.
So she goes to chase us, and we think she's after us. We have to run. And then we run into all the other people from the show, and they're all have different roles in life. And that's how
this is interesting.
That's how I was going to kick things off. Like
that's
one of,
cute.
Like one of Newt Whalen's silent movie, music.
Oh, yes.
That's what I had in mind.
Tell us a little bit about that. What was the sort of transition, or you thought you were maybe I'll be a cop. Did you look into it? Did you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was at one point, because of working at Providence College, I knew quite a few of the officers in the Providence Police Department. And a couple of the female officers said, if you want to go to the academy, you just tell us and we'll make it happen. And that really was what I thought I would do. And then the Amtrak thing came along. And so
you're like, I can still wear a uniform.
Yeah, that's true.
Tell people what to do.
Well, I fancied myself as, potentially a detective. So maybe I would have been like a detective. And what would be ideal is maybe I could be, cast as a police detective in some kind of a show. And maybe you can write it, Tom, and we can be detectives together. Yeah, exactly. Z1, Z2, yeah.
C4? Yeah. C5? Yeah. As a matter of fact, did you know that the largest crystal ball in the world weighed 106 pounds, was carved in China, polished in Japan, and is now in the National Museum in Washington? Wow, it's a good thing they didn't drop it. Yeah.
Maura, were you in a rock band for a little bit?
The Loose Fish, which has nothing to do with what you might think. I was a drummer for a bit, and I don't write music or read music very well, but that was a blast. I did that off and on for a long time.
And you were on a hockey team.
Oh, the Lady Reds, Providence Lady Reds. My whole life, I'm a sports fanatic. You name it, I follow it. Pretty passionate about all my Boston sports teams. I play, fantasy football, baseball, hockey, basketball, you name it.
Oh, well, Maura, you said you were at an ice rink. Can you tell that?
There's an outdoor skating rink in Jamaica Plain section of Boston at a place called Lars Anderson. And I was there with my family and throw my skates on and out I go. And my parents were getting probably my youngest brother ready to go out. When they came out of the building and to the outdoor rink, they saw a huge crowd. And they were like, oh, somebody must have gotten really badly hurt. Well, that's not what it was. It was me being mobbed by the other kids that were there skating. And, I just wanted to skate. And again, they sing the Zoom song at you. And I don't know, they want to know about Zoom. And
they were being nice to you.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, that's lovely.
It wasn't bad. They were being nice.
I was always taunted. Like
that does happen. We moved when I was 13. We left Hyde Park, where I had grown up, and moved to a suburb. And that was hard because you're not the new kid. You're the new kid who happened to be Maura from Zoom. Kids can be cruel. You're in that teenage years, and they think because you're not always on and really personable that you're stuck up, which was never true.
We were talking about, since we were told you're just a normal kid, like So there was very little ego at the door.
Yeah.
But then you do get fame because when you're on television, you become famous. And then when you leave the show and go into a public school or even perhaps private, I don't think they realized at the time like what the den of iniquity that you were sending us into.
They had no idea.
Yeah.
Because Zoom, Zoom was not a local thing. Zoom was all over the country.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Walter, one of the cities with the highest viewership numbers was Chicago. But I mean, I remember I had relatives.
And the Northwest Indiana area, I must have.
There you go. But I had relatives that moved to Idaho in the, say, 77. And I went out there to visit in the summer, and they sent a TV crew out to interview me. I'm like,
oh, that's so
Pocatello, Idaho, and it's wherever you go, there are all kinds of stories like that of people that I've encountered primarily through social media from all over the country. And I tell this story, I'm going to tell it again because he's mad that I didn't mention him by name. I had a musician reach out to me, and his name is Jim Laspessa. And he's a drummer, and he has gigged all over LA with all kinds of different groups. But he got a gig as a percussionist with Brian Wilson's band, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. And I am a huge, huge fan of the Beach Boys. To know that this guy, he's living the dream. He's out there meeting Brian Wilson and working with him and all these other musicians, and he wants to meet me. Are you kidding me? He's a sweetheart. He was very sweet to share a lot of stories and photos of, touring and all that. So I could kind of vicariously experience what he was going through.
You should talk to him about drumming. Maybe you could teach give you some pointers.
He's good. He's really good. And Arnie Wilson's husband is also friends with Jim. Rob Bonfiglio is another one. He reached out to me with a friend request, and I'm like, what universe are we in here?
Maybe we get him on.
But you don't realize the impact. These are people that grew up in different places. I don't think anybody could have possibly realized the impact Zoom had.
You did something after the second season, or at the end of the second season, when Zoom was going to lose its funding. You were like the face of the police.
The Zoom alarm. Yes.
Can you talk about that?
It was... From what I know, nobody knows if there's any video that still exists of that. Zoom was going to lose its funding, and we did something called the Zoom alarm, where I came on and I summoned all of my, 10-year-old urgency. And I basically said, Zoom might go off the air. We'd like you to write letters and write in. And I collected all these letters and brought them down to Washington, to Congress, I guess, to save the funding. It worked. But to this day, Christopher, when we chat, he'll always say, there she is, Maura, the girl who saved Zoom. And I didn't save Zoom, but the fans had a lot to do with it. But I would love to see that again.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it exists.
Was it tagged on to the end of Zoom shows?
Exactly.
Because I think I might have that on some of these tapes.
If you have that, awesome. Even Chris doesn't know. Because what people don't know is that a lot of those Zoom shows back then, tape was expensive. So they would tape stuff, and then when it was done, whatever they used it for, they would tape over things. So there isn't a 100% complete library of Zoom stuff. Some things are lost forever.
Were you the one that said some of these Zoomers will be leaving at the end of the season?
Probably. Yeah.
I think I have that message.
Maura, when I saw you in Parsippany, I told you a story about the skit you did with Luis, where he came in and said you were the waitress and you wanted a bowl of soup. Please, no, I don't mean to make fun of Luis's accent, but he's like, I can't eat this soup.
Yeah.
And you went, why not? And I can't eat this soup. So you called the manager, who was Jay, and he said, what's wrong with I can't eat this soup. And he said, why not? Do you remember why you couldn't eat this soup?
Because it wasn't soup?
No, because I don't have a spoon.
Let's see. Please bring me a bowl of soup. can't eat this soup.
I'm afraid you're gonna have to talk to the chef about this, sir.
All right, what's the matter out here? I can't eat this soup.
Why not?
I don't have a spoon.
Well, that's right. That's
Remember?
right. That's
Every
right.
time I eat a can of soup, I say, I can't eat this
Yeah.
soup.
Funny thing, because he and I did a few things after Zoom. We always had a great chemistry working together. Like we could improvise, but that was not the only time. There was another episode where I was a waitress and he came in and he wanted a kind word. I said, yeah, I'll give you the kind word. And he bring out his meal and he says, I'm walking away. He says, well, did you forget something? I said, what? He says, my kind word. Yeah, don't eat the eggs. That was the kind word.
Oh, waitress,
Yeah?
haven't you forgotten something?
Like what?
My kind word.
Oh, yeah. Don't eat the eggs.
But when I see some of those things now, I think, real acting is very difficult. I took some acting classes and it was very difficult. I could kind of get into that, I don't know, character, that role, whatever, and run with it. And I don't know how I did that, but I did.
Yes, you did. I don't think real acting is that difficult.
Really?
I don't think so. Having been to NYU drama school, what they say is that acting is being believable or authentic under imaginary circumstances. But I'm sure it was intuitive. It was natural. And you were a very talented young girl when you were little. So you probably just intuited it and you had great personality. So yeah,
Well, I mean, it's just one of those things. I guess I was a natural ham. It would give you some ideas, like try it this way, but they just let us be. That authenticity.
That's how it happened, yeah.
That authenticity is what made Zoom really successful. One thing I will say, and I really feel like this is a reflection on Christopher and the people that chose each one of us to do this amazing thing called Zoom. We've all grown up to be pretty successful, functional adults. I mean, like anybody growing up, there's bumps along the way, but we've all grown up to be pretty much happy and healthy and productive, and we don't have any of those.
Except for Dr. Joe. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's true, but
No,
what are you going to do, right? But yeah, that's one thing I think I'm really proud of is that we've all kind of done okay, and you don't have those, child star syndrome.
Right, we didn't rob video stores or
no,
shave our
they weren't
head.
open yet.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I use a lot of it as my benchmark on how to deal with life.
Yeah, there you go.
When I had a cabaret existence for like 3.5 years, at first I didn't say I was on Zoom. I didn't put that in my credits because it happened when I was so young. And I remember Sidney Meyer, who was the booker at Don't Tell Mama, which is really where I had my residency. I remember he was like, you were on Zoom? And he was like, and you don't, and I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I want my talent now to speak for itself. And he's like, no, you really should put it in. And so I kind of like got over that and did put it in.
Oh, don't fight it.
No, it's something to be awfully proud of. Again.
One of the things that I have shared with you, Donna, and a few others, the thing about Zoom is that the bar gets set so incredibly high. When you're 10 years old and you're part of a show and it wins an Emmy Award or 2, it's an amazing thing. 3, okay.
Total,
well, it's an amazing thing, right? I've gone through life. It's not like there's any anxiety about, Zoom and I'll never do anything like that again. It isn't like that. But in my mind, the bar gets set so high that sometimes it feels like no matter what you do in your adult life, how do you match that or exceed that?
I'm glad we have this forum for this.
Well,
These are our therapy sessions, right?
Absolutely.
We're having our Zoom wrap. Yeah.
Come on and give it a try.
And we
And
need
we
you.
need you.
We need
Yes,
you,
let's
all
do this.
right. Yeah.
Donna, I was going to ask you a question, if I may. We were talking about Tommy did this thing for his
Yeah.
opening. Maura jumped through the paper. First was just a bunch of pictures.
Yeah.
Did they discuss what you wanted to do?
No.
You
I'm
didn't-
glad I
think-
wasn't the only one.
No,
But-
no. I think they just took pictures of me and said, that's what you're going to do. It's like, do, 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 do. And 3 shots. And I'm like, I'm
So
doing like a
pensive.
beauty shot or whatever. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, that's no beauty shot.
That's
I'm
the
just-
beauty of Zoom.
And Donna, you kind of alluded to this last week too. When your cast changed, you felt kind of like a oh my gosh, something is different now, you know?
Well, because it was the end of the Sarson 21. I was just saying how use the word ethos, but it's perfect. The ethos of the show, well, it just changed, when Christopher left. So Michael, Timmy, and I brought in a new cast. It just felt like it didn't have Christopher Sarson's
Energy.
seal of approval or energy. This is nothing against Hector, Sean, Rose, or Danny, but I just was like, it just felt a little weird. I'm still at the party, but the party ended. That's how it felt.
Well, that's your
Feel that way
truth.
with-
Thank God I had Timmy and Mike because we were all very, very tight.
That's good.
Yeah.
I never had to deal with new people, so
I never realized that you were only there for a half.
I didn't leave. I did a full season.
We only did 21. That
That's a full season, yeah.
Yeah, that 21, part of it was with Kenny and Tracy and Nancy, and then the other part of it was with Leon, Louise, and Bernadette. So,
I was good with the arts and crafts, and Nancy reminded me that I could make cartoon dollars that worked in the vending machine.
oh, yeah, we were, yeah. There was a lot of mischief that went on in the cafeteria of GBH.
Yeah, the
I
caf
will just
was,
leave it at that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of mischief.
Oh, that's funny.
And when we weren't filming, we had the green room where we would go and hang out. And there were some crazy things that went on in the green room.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah. I mean, we did silly things. I remember we were trying to do levitating, each other and stuff like
yes.
that. There was a period of time, and I will not mention names, but spin the bottle did happen in the green room. That's about it. There were no Zoom romances, to my knowledge.
Yeah, my lips are sealed, not because of me.
Yeah,
but 'cause
won't
it's
give
not
any
about me.
details.
If
Yeah.
it wasn't me, I would say it, right out there. But I don't think it's my place to tell.
No, we keep some things secret.
Yeah. So, well, this has been really great. We'll get you back. I want to talk to you really about. I know you went through a very difficult time, and you still are. That you lost your daughter a couple of years ago, and I know it's probably the hardest thing that a human goes through, losing
That's true. Yeah.
a child. I just want to say I admire your fortitude, and I know it's just a growing thing, and I know that it will probably always. I mean, it'll be until you take your last breath. You will be carrying your beautiful daughter around with you in her memory. But let me ask you a question, like how are you doing?
Yeah. Every day I do think of her. I'll give you this. What happened to my daughter is an epidemic that is affecting so many families. My daughter reached adolescence and struggled with mental health issues and then substance abuse.
Mm.
And it was a real roller coaster for a long time. And believe me when I say every type of help that could be given to her was tried. It's hard when you're, a teenager and your friends are doing things and you don't want to be, not a part of. But long and short, my daughter passed away from an accidental overdose. She was 20. And it's a difficult thing, but it's a thing that, it happens far too often to far too many families. I miss her every day. and that will never go away. But, you know, I find a couple of things. The thing that helped me was that if she was struggling so much in this life and she is now at peace, I need to be able to be okay with that. Because it's not about me, right? It's about her and her struggle. And I also find that talking about the grief and the whole grieving process helps me, but it also gives me something to share with others. And, you know, it's sad that so many people have gone through this. It's not unique. You know, it just is, you just have to put one foot in front of the other every day and keep going. You know, we had done a live stream together on February 2nd, 2022. And she passed 2 days later on February 4th of 2022. And I remember sharing it in our Zoom chat. And the response from my Zoom family was absolutely unreal. And Christopher, who now lives in New Zealand, he called me every single day for 2 weeks to check on me. And, you know, I was so grateful that I had that kind of support from people. So I'm okay. There'll always be a piece that's missing, but talking about her keeps her alive. So I always like to talk about her. You know, most of the memories that come are of the good things. You don't entirely forget the hard times because that's part of the story too, but the good memories outweigh the bad. And I was very lucky, you know, to be part of her life and her journey. So you do the best you can.
Yeah.
God bless you, Maura. God bless.
Well, so sorry to hear about that, and thank you for sharing this with us.
Yeah. I mean, it's just part of my story, and I've, you know, talked to a lot of people who've gone through similar things, and sometimes it's just, you think you could say, oh, I can only imagine. You can't imagine until you go through it. And it's been unfortunate that I've had other people in different parts of my life that have gone through the same thing, but sharing it, sharing what I've gone through or the feelings or the different stages of grief helps. Talking about it helps. And just feel it. Let it come.
Yeah. I think that's really good to always be able to talk about it.
Absolutely.
I do know some people who lost people in their lives, and this is perhaps when we were growing up, and they chose not to ever mention the people's names. Like, you know, not only did I lose my father, but now I've lost my history because we're not even talking about it.
Yeah.
So I think the act of talking about it and, like you're saying, keeping it alive and allowing you the freedom to be able to mention, but also to be able to talk about your daughter at any time, I think it's just a very healthy thing that we as a society are getting more used to discussing death. And let's face it, that's the thing about life, is like the one thing that is for sure is we are all gonna die.
We're all gonna die. Absolutely.
So it's like getting more comfortable with that, you know,
it's just another part of whatever this journey is that our beings are on, you know, and what comes next, I don't know. I mean, I think we all have our thoughts on that, but you know, I think the important thing that I have always taken away is that make as many memories as you can, experience as many things as you can, because you don't know, and just enjoy every day. You know, live in the moment as much as you can. Live in the moment.
Well, I'd say doing this with you guys is really great for a memory maker. And after also hearing Tommy last week, I got a new appreciation for the show through your eyes. And now it's like, oh, wow, this was a lovely thing. And there's so much to appreciate about it.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad that's worked out for you.
And on that note, we'll do a production number.
We got one more. We have a comment.
May I just say, share a memory? I have a very happy memory in Parsippany 3 years ago when I came to visit. It was the last day, I think, But I insisted with Maura, you, Donna, and Joe, and Kenny. I said, let's all do, say you wake up in the middle of the night. And I think, I can't speak for you, Donna or Maura, but I think it was like, why don't you get lost and
No,
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 because
no,
I
no.
said,
We
"No,
were
we
having
can do
fun
it.
with that.
We can do it. We can do it." So I stood there, the five of us in a row,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I
I was a
remember.
substitute Zoomer. I knew it all by heart. Say you wake up in the middle of the
What
night.
are you suggesting we do it right now?
I
I
wasn't,
know
but
my
you know,
line.
I,
I'm up next.
could we?
Let's
I'm
give
not
it
Say
a
you
sure.
wake
shot.
up in the middle of the
Of the
night.
night. Are we
You
doing it
got an
together?
idea that's out of sight.
Sight.
So you jump out of bed, look around your room, you're going to write it down and send it to Zoom.
Or say you just seen something on the show or someone cool. You just gotta know. Write
Write
it
it
all
all
down.
down.
Don't
Don't make
make
a
a
Make a
mess.
mess. And
don't
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 forget
forget
Your
your
name and
name and
address.
address. Right.
Include a
Zoom.
stamp so we can drop you a card. Then dip your
Dip your
note.
note in a bucket of
But a
lard.
lard. Lard's what you
Oh.
use for soap, you dope. You put your note in an envelope. Then
Then
you
you
take
take your typewriter,
typewriter,
pencil, and pen. And if you make a mistake, you gotta do it again. Write Zoom, Z-O-O-M, box 350, Boston, Mass. Oh, 2, 1, 3, 4.
Zoom talk, you gotta Zoom talk, you gotta Zoom talk, come on and Zoom talk.